She thought doggy style meant becoming a dog. The alien woman was shocked. The ground beneath her feet was soft but firm, a strange shade of purple that shimmered under the two suns of the planet. Small clouds of sparkling dust floated around as the wind whispered through towering crystal-like structures that jutted up like jagged mountains. She had dreamed of this moment for years. Finally, she was here, an earthling in a world entirely unlike anything she had seen. Mara's mission was clear: study the local civilization, understand their language, and bridge the gap between humans and aliens. She had spent months preparing, memorizing countless alien dialects and gestures. She had read reports of the Varkonians, curious sense of humor, and their tendency to take phrases literally. Still, nothing could have fully prepared her for meeting one of them in person. As she walked toward the main settlement, she spotted her first Varkonian. The alien stood tall, almost 3 meters in height, with translucent skin that glowed faintly in the sunlight. Its eyes were large and curious, shining like twin moons. Delicate tentacle-like appendages swayed from its shoulders, moving independently as if they had minds of their own. Mara's heart raced with both excitement and nervousness. "Greetings," she said, bowing slightly in the human way. The alien tilted its head. "Greetings," it echoed, its voice melodic but strange. "You are human?" "Yes," Mara replied with a smile. "I am Dr. Mara Chen from Earth. I come in peace. I am here to learn about your culture." The alien's eyes sparkled with interest. "I am Xyla." "You speak with careful meaning. Are you here to play games?" Mara laughed softly. "Well, not exactly, but humans do have games. Some are fun, some are strange." Xyla's tentacles twitched. "Strange games, show me." Mara hesitated, realizing that literal demonstrations of human behavior might be complicated. She decided to start with something simple. "Okay, there is one game humans play called tag. One person chases the other, and when they touch, the other person is it." Xyla tilted its head again, eyes narrowing in confusion. "Touch, chase, this is a game. Curious, very curious. What other games do you play?" Mara smiled, thinking of the challenge of explaining Earth customs to an alien mind. "Well, there is one called Doggy Style. It's just a name. It's a funny game that humans talk about, not really a real game to play." Xyla's eyes widened. "Dog what?" "Doggy Style," Mara repeated, trying to sound calm. "It's just a human expression." "It doesn't mean humans actually become dogs." Xyla's tentacles stiffened. "You mean humans do not transform into animals to play? I thought you literally become dogs." Mara blinked. She had anticipated some confusion, but this was far beyond anything she had imagined. "No. Absolutely not. It's a saying, like a joke." Xyla tilted its head to the side, clearly skeptical. "A joke meaning you pretend to be dogs?" "Not exactly," Mara said carefully. "It's just a phrase humans use in fun. Nothing changes. No one turns into a dog." Xyla's eyes narrowed in thought. "Curious, confusing, humorous perhaps. You humans are very strange." Mara chuckled nervously. "We are, but that's what makes humans interesting." Xyla seemed to relax, though its tentacles twitched nervously. "Interesting indeed." "You demonstrate?" Mara froze. She hadn't expected to be asked to physically demonstrate a joke. Her cheeks warmed. "Oh, well, I can show a pretend version." Xyla's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Pretend, yes, show." Taking a deep breath, Mara knelt on the soft purple ground and began to mimic the way a dog might move. She crawled on all fours, wagged her imaginary tail, and barked softly. She kept it exaggerated and playful, hoping Xyla would understand that it was just acting. Xyla's mouth opened in shock and its tentacles shot up in surprise. "By the suns, you humans, you really imitate animals. This is your joke." "Yes," Mara said, trying to hide her embarrassment. "It's silly, I know, but it's just for fun." Xyla took a step back, looking both horrified and fascinated. "Incredible, strange. How can you walk upright normally and then imitate dogs? You humans are very flexible." Mara laughed. "We do what we need to survive, and sometimes what we do for fun can seem strange to others." Xyla's tentacles twitched again, this time with curiosity instead of shock. "You are not dangerous, even when pretending. Fascinating." "Yes," Mara said, smiling. "We can be serious when needed and playful when possible. That is part of being human." Xyla seemed to study her carefully. "I must record this. Your species, humans, are very curious indeed. Adaptable, clever, unpredictable. I like this." Mara relaxed. Finally, after so many months of preparation, she felt the first real connection with an alien. Humor, she realized, was a bridge between worlds, even if the bridge was built on a misunderstanding. Suddenly, a loud, low rumble shook the ground. Mara looked up to see dark shapes moving in the distance, large, shadowy creatures approaching the settlement. Xyla's eyes widened. "Danger, predators, they come!" Mara's heart raced. She had studied Varkan 9 wildlife, but she hadn't expected them to attack the settlement during her first meeting. "Xyla, stay calm, we can handle this together." Xyla's tentacles whipped in alarm. "Together, you say? You humans will fight," Mara nodded. "We can be very creative when we need to be. Watch me and follow my lead." With quick thinking, Mara grabbed some portable energy barriers from her pack and activated them, forming a temporary shield around the settlement entrance. The creatures approached, sniffing the air and growling in low tones. Mara and Xyla ran toward the barriers, guiding terrified alien citizens inside. Mara's heart pounded. "Xyla, push the panels, now!" Xyla and the other aliens worked together, moving the barriers into position. The creatures lunged, and a flash of energy knocked them back. The humans' ingenuity and the aliens' strength combined in a way that saved the settlement from immediate danger. When the creatures finally retreated, Xyla turned to Mara, eyes wide. "You humans, you think fast, very fast. Incredible, I am impressed." Mara smiled, wiping sweat from her forehead. "That's what humans do, we adapt, we survive, and sometimes we play games along the way." Xyla's eyes softened, and its tentacles twitched with amusement. "Even your silly jokes are useful. I see now. Humor and cleverness, humans are remarkable." For the first time, Mara felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Not only had she survived her first day on Varkan 9, but she had also connected with a local in a way that transcended language, species, and misunderstanding. She realized that humans were unique, and not just for their physical abilities, but for their creativity, humor, and resilience. As the suns began to set, painting the sky in brilliant shades of pink and gold, Mara and Xyla sat atop one of the crystal hills, watching the settlement recover from the chaos. Mara's backpack lay open beside her, filled with data pads, maps, and tools. Yet in that quiet moment, it didn't feel like work. It felt like the beginning of something extraordinary. Xyla turned to Mara, its voice gentle and curious. "Tomorrow, you will teach me more of your strange ways?" Mara nodded, smiling. "Tomorrow, I will. And maybe I'll learn some of yours too." The two of them laughed together, the sound carrying across the alien landscape. A human and an alien, brought together by curiosity, humor, and the simple, universal desire to understand one another. In that moment, Mara knew the adventure had only just begun, and she could hardly wait to see what surprises the next day would bring. The sun rose over the crystal mountains of Varkan 9, casting long, golden reflections across the purple plains. "Doctor." Mara Chen woke early, stretching and rubbing her eyes as she looked out over the alien settlement. The night had been quiet, aside from the occasional low growl of distant creatures, but Mara knew the day ahead would not be calm. She adjusted her backpack and made her way toward the central meeting area, where Xyla had promised to show her more of the Varkonian culture. The alien stood waiting, its translucent skin shimmering in the morning light. Its tentacles swayed gracefully as it observed Mara approaching. "Good morning, Mara," Xyla said, its melodic voice carrying a hint of amusement. "You survived your first day. Impressive." Mara smiled. "Thanks, Xyla, you did too." "I didn't expect the creatures to attack, but we handled it well together." Xyla tilted its head. "Yes, humans are clever, quick thinking. I did not imagine you could turn a joke into a defense strategy." Mara laughed softly. "Sometimes humor and creativity help more than weapons. I guess that's one way humans survive." Xyla's tentacles twitched with interest. "I still do not understand this doggy-style joke. You pretend to be a dog for amusement. Strange." Mara nodded, sitting on a nearby crystal bench. "Yes, it's strange to other species too, but it's harmless fun, a way to laugh at ourselves. I can try to explain more." Xyla's eyes sparkled. "Explain, show me again if you dare." Mara hesitated, remembering how shocked Xyla had been the day before. She didn't want to frighten the alien again. "Well, maybe not exactly the same as yesterday," she said. "I can describe it. Humans use words that sound strange to describe ordinary things. Doggy style is one of them. It's like a game we joke about, but we don't actually do anything dangerous or transforming." Xyla leaned closer, its large eyes narrowing with curiosity. "I must see. Demonstration needed." cannot understand words alone. Mara sighed, but she knew she had to be careful. If Zyla misunderstood again, it could create bigger problems. She carefully mimed very simple dog-like movements, crouching slightly, tapping her hands on the ground, wagging an imaginary tail, and making soft, playful noises. She exaggerated her movements to make it clear it was pretend. Zyla froze, staring with wide eyes, its tentacles flared outward in surprise. By the suns, you humans, you really imitate animals? This is amusing. Yes, Mara said with a smile. It's pretend, just a joke. No humans are harmed in this activity. Zyla's tentacles twitched nervously. Curious, fascinating, how can you shift from walking upright to crawling in mere seconds? Mara chuckled. We are flexible, yes, and adaptable. Humans like to explore all possibilities, even strange ones. Zyla's eyes softened. I admire this. Humans unpredictable, clever, remarkable. Perhaps humans have strength not only in body but in mind and humor. Myra nodded, relieved. Exactly. That's what makes humans interesting. Before they could continue, a loud rumble echoed through the valley. Mara tensed. The predators from yesterday were on the move again, but this time they were faster and closer. Zyla's tentacles stiffened. They come again. You humans will fight? Mara quickly assessed the situation. Not fight directly, we'll outsmart them. She pulled out a small, portable device from her pack, a combination light flare and sound emitter. These creatures react strongly to bright lights and noise. We'll use that to distract them. Zyla's eyes widened. You plan, clever, dangerous? No danger if we work together, Mara said firmly. Trust me. They moved quickly through the settlement, setting up a perimeter with the devices. Mara activated the first flare, sending a bright pulse of light and a loud, echoing sound toward the predators. The creatures froze, then scattered in confusion, avoiding the strange stimulus. Mara and Zyla repeated the process, creating a controlled retreat path that led the predators away from the settlement. Zyla's tentacles twitched in amazement. You humans, you do not rely only on strength, but on planning, cleverness, creativity, truly remarkable. Mara smiled. That's what humans do best. We can be strong, but we're smarter together. Once the predators had disappeared into the distance, Zyla turned to Mara. I did not expect this. You humans, you turn jokes into survival strategies. Yes, Mara said. Sometimes humor teaches creativity, and creativity saves lives. Zyla's tentacles relaxed, swaying gently. I will record this. Humans unpredictable, resourceful, very special. I wish to learn more. Mara nodded. I can teach you, and I want to learn from you too. We can exchange knowledge, humans and Varkonians. Zyla tilted its head in thought. Yes, exchange. Perhaps misunderstandings lead to understanding. Mara laughed. Exactly. That's often how humans learn. The two of them walked through the settlement, observing the daily life of the Varkonians. Children with shimmering skin ran and floated using small levitation devices, while adults tended to glowing plants and strange, floating machines. Mara noticed that despite the differences, the aliens' expressions of curiosity, care, and laughter were very similar to humans. Zyla, Mara said, pointing to a group of young Varkonians playing with floating spheres. Your games are not so different from ours. Even if you don't imitate animals, you have fun, teamwork, and imagination. That is universal. Zyla nodded. Yes, true. Curiosity, play, and learning connect all beings, even species very different from each other. Suddenly, one of the young Varkonians floated too high and got stuck in a low-hanging crystal formation. Its tentacles twitched anxiously as it struggled to free itself. Mara's human instinct to help kicked in. She ran forward, assessing the situation. Zyla. I'll get the child down safely, Mara called. Stand back just in case. Zyla's eyes widened. You humans, fearless, brave, why risk yourself? Because it's the right thing to do, Mara said simply. She extended her hands carefully, using a small gravity stabilizer from her pack to gently lower the young Varkonian to the ground. The child floated down safely, and Zyla's eyes shimmered with gratitude. You, humans, not only clever but kind. Courageous, admirable, truly remarkable. Mara smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. We try, and sometimes we fail, but we keep learning. Zyla's tentacles twitched thoughtfully. Learning, adapting, surviving, humor, kindness, humans are complex. Perhaps we misjudged before. Yes, Mara said, and misunderstandings like the doggy-style joke can lead to learning if we communicate. Zyla tilted its head, considering this. Communication is tricky, but you humans navigate it with cleverness and patience. Very impressive, Mara nodded. It takes practice, but anyone can learn even across species. The rest of the day was filled with exploration and conversation. Mara learned about the Varkonians' floating gardens, how they cultivated energy crystals, and the methods they used to study their native wildlife. Zyla observed Mara demonstrating simple human tools, a portable scanner, a small drone, and a miniature solar panel. Each device fascinated the alien, who asked countless questions about Earth and human ingenuity. By evening, Mara and Zyla were sitting on a crystal ridge, watching the twin suns set. The settlement glowed with soft, luminescent lights, and a sense of calm returned after the morning's chaos. You, humans, very strange, very clever, very kind, remarkable species, Zyla said softly. I hope we become friends. Mara smiled, her heart warm. I hope so too, Zyla, and maybe tomorrow I'll teach you more about Earth humor carefully this time. Zyla laughed, a soft, melodic sound that echoed across the valley. Yes, carefully. Perhaps the next joke will not frighten me. Mara laughed as well, realizing that what had begun as a misunderstanding could become the foundation of a true friendship. Humor, kindness, bravery, and clever thinking, the very things that made humans special, had turned a potentially dangerous day into a bridge between two species. As darkness fell over Varkan 9, Mara knew one thing for certain: the adventure had only just begun. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new opportunities to show why humans were remarkable. And she could hardly wait. The next morning, Varkan 9 glowed under the twin suns with a soft pink and gold light. Doctor. Mara Chen was already awake, checking her equipment and planning the day's exploration with Zyla. She had grown more comfortable navigating the alien landscape, but the events of the previous day reminded her that this planet could be unpredictable and dangerous. Zyla approached Mara, its tentacles swaying gently. Mara, today you will see the wild plains, but danger may follow. Predators are clever and persistent. Mara nodded. I know, Zyla, but humans we adapt, and we solve problems. That's what we do best. Zyla tilted its head, clearly curious. Yes, I see your cleverness, your courage yesterday remarkable. We must be careful. Together they stepped out of the settlement and onto a narrow path that led through a valley of glowing crystal spires. The landscape shimmered under the suns, beautiful yet deceptive. Small pools of liquid reflected light in strange colors, and the air carried the faint hum of the energy crystals embedded in the ground. As they walked, Mara explained the purpose of her mission. I want to understand your culture, Zyla, to learn how you live, how you think, and how humans and Varkonians might work together. That's why it's important for me to observe safely. Zyla listened carefully. Observation, careful, yes. Humans, unusual, always curious, always learning. I admire this. The two of them had been walking for nearly an hour when Mara froze. A sudden rustle came from the crystal bushes ahead. Her training kicked in immediately. Humans are quick to notice danger. She raised her hand to signal Zyla to stop. Zyla froze, its tentacles stiffening in alarm. What danger? Tell me, human, Mara whispered, pointing. Predators, not far, but very fast. We need to move carefully. Before Zyla could respond, 3 shadowy shapes burst from the bushes. The creatures were larger than any Mara had seen before, long limbs, sharp claws, glowing eyes. They advanced with terrifying speed, low growls vibrating through the air. Mara's heart raced. She had to think fast. Zyla, follow me, stay close, and mimic my movements. Zyla nodded, its eyes wide with both fear and trust. Together they sprinted down the valley path. Mara scanned the ground, looking for anything she could use to outsmart the predators. She spotted a narrow canyon ahead with a series of natural crystal bridges overhead. An idea formed instantly. Zyla, climb the crystal bridges, I'll distract them, she shouted. Zyla hesitated. Climb, dangerous, humans sure. Mara's voice was firm. Trust me, we have no choice, move quickly. Zyla obeyed, gracefully leaping onto the first crystal bridge. Mara stayed behind, pulling out her portable sound and light emitter. She activated it, sending a flash of bright light and a high-pitched tone toward the predators. The creatures hesitated, growling and confused by the unexpected stimulus. Taking advantage of the moment, Mara sprinted toward a second set of bridges, signaling Zyla to follow. The predators, enraged and frustrated, lunged after the moving light, giving the humans and aliens just enough time to climb higher. Once they reached the safety of the upper canyon path, Mara took a moment to catch her breath. See, humans think fast, that's how we survive. Xyla's tentacles twitched, a mix of amazement and relief. You, humans, incredible, clever, brave. I cannot imagine being so calm in danger. Mara smiled, wiping sweat from her forehead. It's not that we're not afraid, we are, but fear teaches us to think. Humans, we use our minds, our creativity, to find solutions. They continued along the canyon, keeping low and moving carefully. The predators had not given up. Distant growls echoed through the canyon walls. Mara knew they couldn't stay on the bridges forever. They needed a safe place to hide until the predators left. She spotted a cave in the cliffside, partially hidden by crystal formations. Xyla, there, a safe spot. We can wait there until it's safe. Xyla nodded and led the way. They entered the cave cautiously. Inside, the air was cool and damp, the crystals reflecting a soft, soothing light. Mara placed her backpack down and activated her sensors to make sure no predators had followed. Once confident they were safe, she exhaled. We made it thanks to teamwork. Xyla approached her, eyes wide with admiration. Teamwork, yes, humans teach me patience, cleverness, courage, strange and fascinating. I like this much. Mara smiled. That's why humans explore. We face challenges, sometimes dangerous, and we find ways to overcome them. And we help others along the way. Xyla's tentacles twitched thoughtfully. Help, yes, you humans not only think you care, you act remarkable. I wish to learn this fully. Mara nodded. You will, Xyla. It takes practice, but anyone can learn, even across species. As they settled into the cave, Mara activated a small portable light to examine her surroundings. She noticed strange markings on the cave walls, ancient carvings depicting creatures, humans, and Varkonians together. Mara's eyes widened. Xyla, these carvings, they show humans and Varkonians working together long ago. Xyla approached and traced a tentacle over the markings. Yes, old stories forgotten by many humans, always curious, were involved once before. Perhaps fate brings us together again. Mara smiled. Maybe, and maybe we can create new stories, ones of cooperation, courage, and learning. The cave offered temporary safety, but Mara knew they couldn't stay there forever. She decided to explore the area carefully, hoping to find a way back to the settlement without encountering the predators again. Together, they moved deeper into the cave system. The passage twisted and turned, leading to smaller chambers filled with strange crystals and glowing fungi. Mara collected samples and took notes, knowing that these discoveries could provide insights into Varkan 9 ecosystem. Xyla watched her closely. Humans study, learn, even in danger. Why? Because knowledge keeps us alive, Mara explained. The more we understand, the better we can survive, and the more we learn, the better we can help others. Xyla nodded slowly, clearly impressed. Survival, knowledge, creativity, humans, very wise, remarkable. Suddenly, a distant growl echoed through the cave. Mara's eyes narrowed. We're not completely safe yet. The predators, they might be tracking us. We need a plan to leave quietly. She activated a small map device, projecting a holographic path through the cave system. Xyla, we'll move in short bursts, staying silent and avoiding open spaces. If we keep to the shadows and use the tunnels, we can return to the settlement safely. Xyla studied the map carefully. Yes, follow human plans, stealth, cleverness, strategy, I understand. They moved cautiously, one step at a time. Mara led, using her knowledge of terrain and the alien landscape to avoid pitfalls and natural traps. Xyla followed closely, mimicking her movements with surprising precision. The bond between human and alien grew stronger with each careful step. After nearly an hour of tense movement, they emerged from the cave system onto a plateau overlooking the settlement. Mara breathed a sigh of relief. We're close, just a little further and we'll be safe. Xyla looked down at the settlement, glowing softly in the distance. Yes, safety, almost humans, remarkable, truly, Mara smiled. It's not just me, it's humans, all of us. We face challenges, adapt, think fast, and help others. That's what makes us special. Together, they descended the plateau carefully, avoiding open ground where the predators might still lurk. They moved quietly, using shadows and crystal formations for cover. Mara felt a surge of pride, both for herself and for the humans she represented. Finally, they reached the outskirts of the settlement. Mara activated a small signal to alert the guards. Varkonian caretakers and security drones moved into position, ensuring that the predators could not approach again. Mara and Xyla stepped inside the protective barrier, finally safe. Xyla's tentacles twitched in relief. Safe, humans, clever, brave, amazing. I am grateful for your guidance, your courage, your knowledge. Mara smiled. And I'm grateful for your trust, Xyla. Together we can face anything, humans and Varkonians working together. As the suns began to set, Mara looked at the glowing settlement and the shimmering horizon. She knew this was only the beginning. Varkan 9 was full of mysteries, dangers, and opportunities, and with Xyla by her side, she was ready for whatever came next. Humor, cleverness, courage, and teamwork had seen them through the day. Mara knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she was confident. Humans could adapt, survive, and shine, even in the most alien worlds. The next morning on Varkan 9, the twin suns rose over the jagged crystal mountains, casting long, shifting reflections across the purple. Plains. Dr. Mara Chen stood at the edge of the settlement, examining her portable scanner. She had collected data on the predators, the crystal formations, and the local ecosystem, but she felt there was more to discover, something hidden beneath the surface of this strange planet. Xyla approached, its tentacles swaying like gentle waves. Mara, today I wish to show you something important, our history, our past, forgotten by many. Mara raised her eyebrows with curiosity. I would love to see it, Xyla. Your history is part of understanding your culture, and it helps humans and Varkonians learn from each other. Xyla nodded, eyes shining. Follow me carefully, this place sacred and fragile, few outsiders ever enter. Together they walked to the edge of the settlement, following a winding path through crystal fields. The path led to a high plateau where the crystals grew larger and denser. In the center of the plateau, half buried in purple soil, was a circular structure made of glowing crystals. It seemed ancient yet untouched, as if time had protected it. This is the Chamber of Memory, Xyla said softly. It records our history in ways words cannot. Only those who approach with respect can understand. Mara's eyes widened. She had studied alien cultures before, but this was unlike anything she had imagined. It looks incredible. How does it work? Xyla's tentacles traced the edges of the glowing structure. It responds to presence, thought, and emotion. Those who enter see the past in visions, images, and feelings. Humans may experience different ways, but all will understand meaning. Mara took a deep breath. I understand, I'll follow your guidance. Xyla led her carefully to the center of the chamber. As they stepped inside, Mara felt a gentle hum vibrating through her body. The crystals around them glowed brighter, reacting to their presence. Suddenly her mind was flooded with images, ancient Varkonians exploring the planet, discovering crystal energy, and even encountering small groups of humans in times long forgotten. Mara gasped. Humans were here before? Xyla nodded. Yes, long ago, humans and Varkonians worked together, shared knowledge, solved problems, protected planet, but records lost, few remember, stories faded. Mara felt a sense of awe. So humans helped your people before? That's amazing. And it explains some of your old carvings I saw in the caves. Xyla's tentacles twitched in agreement. Yes, history, not always remembered, but preserved in chamber, in memory, in bond between species. As the visions continued, Mara noticed scenes of collaboration. Humans teaching Varkonians how to construct bridges using crystal energy, sharing methods to protect against predators, and exchanging ideas about farming strange plants. The humans in the visions were clever, resourceful, and brave, qualities Mara recognized as familiar in her own species. These humans, they were clever, adaptable, brave, creative, Mara whispered. They solved problems even in unknown worlds just like we do today. Xyla's eyes glimmered. Yes, humans remarkable, special, different, yet same, always surviving, learning, helping with courage and humor. Mara smiled. That's why humans explore, we seek knowledge, adventure, and friendship, and we learn from others too. Suddenly the chamber shifted, and a vision of an ancient misunderstanding appeared. The humans in the vision were mimicking local creatures, moving on all fours, wagging their hands like tails and making playful sounds. Xyla's eyes widened. I see, even long ago, humans, strange humor, playful, confusing, yet clever, useful. Mara laughed softly. Some things never change. Humans have always used creativity and humor to adapt, and sometimes even to teach. The chamber's light dimmed, signaling the end of the vision sequence. Mara looked around, amazed by the depth of Varkonian history and their connection to humans. Xyla, your people, you have such a rich past, and humans were part of it even if it was forgotten. Xyla nodded, eyes filled with pride. Yes, humans, remarkable, always clever, adaptable, courageous, humor, kindness, all remembered here in chamber. Myra felt a deep sense of purpose. I want to help make sure these stories aren't forgotten again. Humans and Varkonians learning from each other, sharing knowledge, it's important. Xyla's tentacles swayed gently. Yes, important, bond, trust, understanding, humor, courage, kindness, humans, truly special. I see now fully. Just as Mara was absorbing the experience, a loud alarm echoed through the plateau. Sensors on the settlement had detected movement. Another group of predators was approaching. Mara's training kicked in immediately. Xyla, we need a plan. These creatures are coming fast and they're not alone. Xyla's eyes widened. Predators, again, humans, clever, guide us quickly. Mara assessed the plateau. The crystal formations could serve as both cover and pathways. She pointed to a series of high crystal spires leading toward a narrow canyon. We'll use the spires to move above the ground. The predators cannot reach us if we stay high. Xyla nodded and began climbing with surprising agility. Mara followed, moving carefully along the crystal pathways. The predators tried to reach them but were blocked by the steep spires. Mara activated her portable sound emitters to create distractions, sending them in the opposite direction while she guided Xyla along the safest path. Halfway through, Mara paused. Xyla, look down at the valley. You can see the predators are clever, but humans think faster. We use creativity and teamwork to survive. Xyla's tentacles twitched in admiration. Yes, humans, clever, brave, resourceful, truly remarkable. I learn much from you. Finally, they reached the narrow canyon that led back to the settlement. Mara checked her scanner. All clear, we can descend safely now. As they moved down, Mara reflected on the day's events. Humans had faced danger, explored alien history, and forged stronger bonds with Varkonians, all through clever thinking, adaptability, and teamwork. Humor and creativity had helped her connect with Xyla, even during dangerous moments. Xyla turned to Mara, eyes bright. Mara, humans amazing, not only strong, but clever, adaptive, courageous, kind, humor, all valuable. I see fully now. Mara smiled. That's what makes humans special. We survive, we adapt, we think fast, and we help others, and we never forget to laugh along the way. By the time they returned to the settlement, the suns were setting, casting long, golden reflections across the crystal plains. The Varkonians were preparing for their evening routines, glowing softly under the fading light. Mara felt a deep sense of accomplishment. She had not only survived another day on Varkin 9, but had also uncovered a part of the planet's history and strengthened the bond between her species and Xyla. Xyla led her to a quiet spot near the settlement, where the glow of the crystals created a peaceful atmosphere. Myra, today, humans I understand fully. Cleverness, courage, humor, kindness, all remembered, honored. Myra nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride. And tomorrow we'll continue to learn from each other. There is still so much to explore, so much to discover, so much to share. Xyla's tentacles twitched in agreement. Yes, humans remarkable, together much possible. I eager learn more, share together. As night fell, the twin moons rose over Varkin 9, casting silvery light across the crystalline landscape. Mara and Xyla sat together, reflecting on the day's adventures and revelations. The humans who had come before them had left a legacy, and now Mara had the chance to continue it, proving once again that humans were clever, adaptable, brave, and endlessly resourceful. And as she looked at the glowing horizon, Mara knew the next day would bring new mysteries, new challenges, and new opportunities to show why humans were truly remarkable. For now, though, she allowed herself a moment of quiet satisfaction. They had survived, learned, and grown closer, not just as allies, but as friends bridging the gap between worlds. Humor, courage, and cleverness had carried them through, and Mara knew it would continue to guide them on Varkin 9. The morning sun rose over Varkin 9 with a brilliance that made the crystal plains sparkle like a sea of diamonds. Doctor. Mara Chen stood at the edge of the settlement, surveying the landscape. Today was important. After days of exploration, danger, and discovery, it was time to demonstrate what humans could offer, not just as explorers, but as allies. Xyla approached, its translucent skin shimmering in the sunlight. Mara, today humans will show Varkonians your cleverness, courage, creativity fully. Mara nodded, her heart beating with excitement. Yes, Xyla. Today we'll show that humans are not only adaptable but also innovative, and maybe we can help strengthen bonds between our species. Xyla's tentacles twitched in agreement. Yes, collaboration, learning, trust, all important. Today will be special. Mara gathered a small team of Varkonians and prepared her portable devices. She had built a series of clever tools to demonstrate human ingenuity. A small drone that could navigate the crystal spires, a lightweight bridge-building kit powered by crystal energy, and an emergency defense system using sound and light emitters. Each device was designed to show how humans think creatively to solve problems, even in dangerous environments. The settlement's central plaza filled quickly with curious Varkonians. Children floated playfully, adults swayed with anticipation, and even some elders stepped closer, their eyes wide with wonder. Mara felt a thrill of excitement. This was her chance to prove the value of human ingenuity and cooperation. Xyla raised a tentacle to quiet the crowd. Citizens of Varkan 9, today we see humans in action, their courage, cleverness, humor, creativity, remarkable. Witness yourselves. Mara began with the drone demonstration. She set it on the ground, and it hovered gracefully, weaving through the crystal spires with precision. The Varkonians gasped as the drone navigated tight spaces, performing maneuvers that seemed impossible. This drone, Mara explained, is a small example of how humans solve problems. We observe, plan, and experiment. Sometimes we fail, but we learn quickly and adapt. Xyla's eyes sparkled. Observation, learning, adapting, yes, humans, clever, always clever. Next, Mara demonstrated the bridge-building kit. Using lightweight crystal rods and energy connectors, she constructed a small but sturdy bridge across a shallow chasm in record time. Humans build tools to survive and help others. Even in dangerous situations, we can work together to solve problems quickly. The Varkonians clapped, their melodic voices echoing across the plaza. Children imitated Mara's movements, connecting small rods and beams, while adults watched carefully, fascinated by the process. Finally, Mara demonstrated the emergency defense system. She activated a series of lights and sound emitters, showing how humans create distractions to protect themselves and others from predators. The Varkonians were amazed at the ingenuity, realizing that human creativity extended beyond tools. It included strategy, quick thinking, and teamwork. Xyla turned to Mara, tentacles swaying in admiration. You humans, clever, resourceful, brave, adaptable, even humor, all valuable, incredible, truly remarkable. Mara smiled. That's humans in a nutshell. We face challenges, adapt, and work together. And when we share our knowledge, everyone benefits. Just as the demonstration ended, a sudden shadow passed over the settlement. Mara's eyes narrowed. Predators again, they're moving faster this time, and they're larger in number. Xyla's tentacles stiffened. We must act. Humans, guide us now. Mara didn't hesitate. Everyone stay calm. We'll use what we just practiced. Teamwork and creativity will keep us safe. She directed the Varkonians to set up temporary barriers using lightweight crystal panels, while she positioned the sound and light emitters. Xyla coordinated the aliens, guiding them with precision and calm. Mara activated the first emitter, sending a bright flash and a resonant tone toward the advancing predators. The creatures paused, confused by the unexpected stimulus. Mara gave a signal, and the Varkonians moved in unison, leading the predators toward a narrow canyon away from the settlement. The humans and aliens' teamwork worked perfectly. The predators were diverted without harm, and the settlement remained safe. Xyla's tentacles twitched with awe. Humans, clever, brave, leaders, problem solvers, truly extraordinary. Mara laughed softly. We humans think fast, yes, but we also learn from others. Today we combined our knowledge with yours. That's how we succeed together. After the predators had retreated, the Varkonians gathered around Mara and Xyla. Elders, children, and adults alike looked at Mara with admiration. Humans remarkable, clever, adaptable, brave, kind, humor, intelligence, all honored, Xyla announced proudly. Mara felt a swell of pride. Thank you, Xyla, but it's not just me. It's all humans, our creativity, courage, and willingness to work together. And now we've worked with you, showing that humans and Varkonians can be allies and friends. The Varkonians erupted in joyful sounds, celebrating the new alliance. Children floated playfully around Mara, imitating the drone maneuvers and bridge-building techniques. Adults discussed ways to incorporate human methods into their own technology, and the elders nodded approvingly. Xyla turned to Mara, eyes shining. Mara, humans, we understand fully your courage, cleverness, humor, creativity, kindness, all valuable now bond, strong, friendship, lasting. Mara smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. And Xyla, your people have taught me so much, patience, observation, and understanding. Together, we've proven that species from different worlds can work together, solve problems, and protect one another. As the sun set, casting long golden reflections across the crystal plains, Mara and Xyla led a small ceremony to honor the alliance between humans and Varkonians. The crystals glowed softly in celebration, reflecting the harmonious energy of the settlement. Mara gave a speech. Today, humans and Varkonians have shown what is possible when different species work together. We face challenges, dangers, and misunderstandings. But with courage, creativity, humor, and teamwork, we can overcome anything. This is the beginning of a lasting friendship, a partnership built on trust and respect. The Varkonians responded with a chorus of melodic sounds, echoing across the valley. Myra's heart swelled with pride and hope. She had proven that humans were not only clever and adaptable, but also capable of bridging worlds and creating harmony even in the most alien environments. Later, Mara and Xyla stood on a crystal ridge, watching the settlement glow under the twin moons. Mara, humans remarkable, all you have shown today, bravery, cleverness, kindness, humor, truly, inspiring, future bright. Mara laughed softly. And you, Xyla, have taught me that trust, patience, and observation are just as important as courage and ingenuity. Together, we've created something extraordinary. Xyla tilted its head thoughtfully. Yes, extraordinary humans, always curious, always clever, always kind, resilient, adaptable, and always willing to help, remarkable species, truly. Mara smiled, looking at the glowing horizon. Varkan 9 will be remembered as the place where humans and aliens first came together, not just for survival, but for friendship, learning, and understanding. This is only the beginning. The adventure continues, and together we can face anything. That night, as the twin moons rose high, Mara reflected on everything she had experienced. She had faced danger, solved problems, and built bridges, literally and figuratively, between species. Humor, creativity, courage, and kindness had guided her through every challenge. And through it all, she had proven something essential. Humans are capable of remarkable things, no matter where they are in the universe. Xyla settled beside her, tentacles softly brushing the crystal ground. Mara, humans clever, brave, kind, adaptable, inspiring, truly remarkable, together, strong, future, bright. Mara nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Yes, Xyla, together we are strong. Together we will continue to explore, learn, and grow. And together, humans and Varkonians will write a new chapter in the story of the universe, one of friendship, courage, and endless possibilities. The stars began to twinkle over Varkan 9, reflecting on the crystal plains like tiny diamonds scattered across the surface. Mara knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humans had proven they could adapt, think creatively, and rise to the occasion. And that realization filled her with hope, not just for herself, but for her species, for the Varkonians, and for the future they would build together. As Mara and Xyla watched the glowing settlement, the twin moons, and the sparkling stars, they understood that today was not just an ending. It was the beginning of a lasting alliance, a bridge between worlds, and a testament to what humans could achieve when curiosity, courage, and creativity guide them. And so, on the alien plains of Varkan 9, under the twin suns and twin moons, a human and an alien stood together, looking at a future filled with adventure, learning, and the remarkable power of friendship. Humanity had shown its brilliance, not through force, but through intelligence, humor, courage, and kindness. And the universe had taken notice.